Hello, AMP Business Academy. This is Dr. Erin, your high performance business coach. And, buckle up because we're going to talk about sales and selling. And never, ever, ever in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be someone who was training on sales, because for so many years, I made up a story in my brain that did not serve me, did not serve my bank account. That selling was something that I didn't do, that it was something that was constitutionally just really not who I was about. I made up a story in my brain that I was a psychologist and I helped people, I didn't sell to them, like they were two mutually exclusive categories. So you can imagine at the prospect of wanting to build my own business and become an entrepreneur, I had a problem on my hands. So I know that many of you struggle with the concept of selling, and you do so from a good place. It's from a place of, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want people to think that all I care about is money. But here's the truth. My mentor, Brendan Burchard, says, if you don't make the money, you can't sustain the mission. If you don't make the money, you can't carry on the message. So I'm super jazzed that I got over my fear of sales, my belief system about sales, and I want to help you do the same. So like I said, buckle up. This is going to be a master class on selling. It's probably going to be a little longer than my other videos because I think it's that important and that crucial to your success. And I bet you would agree. So how did I go from 2 years ago not having a clue how to sell, feeling like I didn't want to, but I knew I had to, and being really bad at it. I remember practicing sales calls with a friend of mine who's a sales expert, and we got to the end of the call where I was supposed to enroll her as a client, and I was so bad. And she says, Dr. Erin, that was so bad. And I said, I know, help me. So how did I go from that to winning Professional Saleswoman of the Year for the state of Nevada? That's me in the gold dress, completely excited that I had really figured out how to sell in a way that I actually now love to sell. So when I have a sales call, I have one later today. It's like so fun for me. It's so good because I know that I have the skills that I'm going to need to help the person figure out if I'm a good fit for them, if I'm not a good fit for them, but really just to help them figure out how to help them. And as a psychologist, my number one skill set is helping people and listening. And you also have those abilities and those skills. And I'm going to show you how to apply those in your business. So we were at Lake Tahoe last summer. This is my little son, Zachary, and he was looking through a telescope at my friend's cabin, and there was a boat way across the lake, and it had people in it, of course, and he exclaims, I see humans. And I realized when I won Professional Saleswoman of the Year, I had to, of course, go backwards and try to figure out how the heck did this happen to me? Because I certainly didn't set out to win that award. I set out with a much different intention that actually ended up being the very secret to my sales success. And so one of the lessons that I learned that I want to implore you to really sink in and practice in your business and your life is, I started to see humans. And what I mean by that is I was obsessed with being curious about what other people cared about what other people needed, about what other people's problems were that they wanted solving. So I saw humans. And when you get interested in other people, instead of trying to be interesting, your business will absolutely explode. So I got to the end of my year and I thought, I feel like I've been on a lot of coffee dates. And I decided to go back and count them up, and I did. I went on a lot of coffee dates. And the reason that I share this with you is that was my method of getting to understand what people wanted. It was my method of serving, because I knew that those who serve the most will have the most amount of success. I went on coffee dates because I love people, and that's my heart. And so on these coffee dates, I became, like I said, someone that was obsessed with understanding other people. And you'll learn that through connecting with people, your confidence grows, your leadership grows, your influence grows. And like I said, I wasn't on the coffee dates with that purpose or intention of winning the award of Saleswoman of Nevada. I went on the coffee dates because I love people. I knew that I needed to surround myself with lots of people if I wanted the success in my life. I knew that is a tenet that all successful people have. They surround themselves with other successful people, and they learn. They're obsessed with learning from others. So this is what I thought sales was. I thought it was this like just completely aggressive, pitchy, salesy, spammy kind of experience. But I also knew that we had a problem on our hands, right? So while I would like to believe that money isn't the thing that drives me, it's also pretty important, right? Money doesn't solve all problems, but it could sure solve my money problem. And here's the deal. When you're building a business, you're going to need money to sustain the business. And it sounds so simple to say that, but your way to serve more people is through the money that you'll make. You're not going to be able to serve and impact many with your gifts and your talents if you don't figure out how to make money. And so we've got to figure out how to sell, and to sell with ease, and to sell a lot. Because when you have money, you can scale your business and you can sustain your business. So we don't want to be doing this kind of exercise, running out of money, okay? And we don't want to be millionaires. I think this is so funny. Someone having little to no money. Been there, done that, okay? So this is also what I thought, and what I see time and time again is people fear not having money, but people also fear having money. And this fear of success, and what will people think, and what will it cost me, and what will I lose if I go to the next level? And here's what I want you to know about that as we talk about selling. You're going to grow into the person that has the ability to receive the next level. You're also going to be employing new strategies as you grow your business. And so while you might look at your life right now and you might say, Dr. Erin, there's no more extra time. How am I going to scale this? I'm probably never going to see my family then. No, you're going to use a different strategy. So just lean into that. Know that that's how it's going to have to work. And I think that's such great news, that your new strategy is what will take you to new levels of income and impact and influence. It's not going to be you doing more. Okay. So people are funny about money. So I remember, how bad I was. And my first hire I knew needed to be a sales coach. And this is my just amazing sales coach. Her name's Jennifer Darling. Isn't she darling? And she helped me. And here's the thing. If you aren't selling what you want to be selling, it's either a skill set problem or a mindset problem, or both. And it possibly could be due to just a lack of action. So you might have great mindset and skill set and not ever make a sales call. But usually it's one of two things. It's either a skill set or a mindset. First of all, I knew I had a mindset problem around money, and I went to another coach that helped me remove my money blocks. And so that was really important for me. But then I knew it was a skill set issue. And so I got busy learning from an expert how to sell. I then hired lots of other coaches. I hired Alexanne Stone. I hired Jonathan Perez. They are my sales coaches. And my ultimate sales coach is Brendan Bouchard, who is my mentor. And I consumed as much information as I possibly could about sales and selling. And I watched Brendan Bouchard sell with ease from the stage. And I used how he did it at my live events. And I would, constantly be on the phone with Jonathan and say, I'm going into this meeting and this is what I think of saying. And what do you think? And okay, they said this and now what should I say? And, surround yourself with people who are experts in this area, and your skills will just go shoo, right? So I got getting busy learning about how to create this business and how to sell with ease. So here's what I believe. I believe the world needs you. I believe you have a gift to share through your business. I believe your business is your vehicle to share that gift with others. The science and statistics show that when you do what you love, the money usually follows. So while we can't guarantee that, there's a statistically really high probability that that's going to be the case. And I believe, and I want this to be your mantra, you deserve to be well compensated for the value you bring to the world. I believe that. I want you to say that to yourself. I want you to repeat that to yourself every day if you need to. I want you to say, I deserve to be well compensated for the value I bring to the world. And I believe it's your time. So you have heard this probably, but I always heard it and I never really understood how, was that really true? It just sounded too good to be true. But here's what I know, I know that selling is serving. And when you serve people to your highest potential, you will sell and you will have success. I want you to be so confident about what you are selling and offering and the services and problems that you solve. I want you to be so confident about those, so in love with what you have to offer the world, and so sure of its effectiveness that you offer. I want this to be true, that people say, I wonder if I'm paying her enough. I wonder if I paid him enough. He totally changed my life. He totally changed my business. The skills that I learned from her have completely changed everything for me. So here's what I know. Dean Graziosi said this at Brendan Burchard's last event. He said, he's a billionaire. He said, if you are not completely in love and believe in what you're selling, there's a problem. And here's what you have to believe. You have to believe in your product or service so much that if people do not buy from you, there's only two options and both options are bad. Isn't this great? Okay, so the first option would be if they don't buy from you, they will buy from someone else and it will be less quality. Now, if you don't believe that, you have a problem. The second thing you need to believe in your innermost core is that your product and service is so great that if people do not buy from you, the only other option is they don't buy anything, and that's a big problem. So if you don't fully believe in your product and service enough that if they do not buy from you, they either go to someone else of lesser quality or they don't get any help at all, then you've got to figure out how to change your mindset about the thing that you're offering. You either have to figure out how to change it, or you have to move on and find something that you can believe in that much. Because here's the deal. If you don't believe in it 100% to your innermost core, asking other people to believe in it is a really tall order, okay? So one of the things we can think about in terms of money is it's just energy. It's just an exchange. Deepak Chopra says money is life energy that we exchange and use as a result of the service we provide to the universe. And again, Brendan Burchard, I love this quote. If you don't make the money, you can't sustain the message. So here's some definitions of selling, according to me. Selling, it's just giving people an opportunity to change their lives by exchanging their money for my services, skills, solutions, ideas, support, etc. It's just an opportunity. You want to change your life? I've got something I think could change your life. It's this much money. Great. I would like to exchange my money for that opportunity to change my life. Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun way to think about selling? I also want you to tell yourself, I'm just looking for people who are looking for me. I want you to neutralize this selling thing, okay? I want you to be jazzed about what you're offering, but stay in the neutral zone of when people say yes or no. Okay, when you get there, that tells me you've arrived. So when someone doesn't want my services, it doesn't pummel me. I just tell myself, okay, cool, next. Great, next. If someone does want my services, I get excited about it if they're my ideal client, and then we get busy changing their life. So it's not this like super high and it's not a super low. because literally all I'm doing is finding a need and filling it. I want you to think of the person working at the McDonald's drive-thru. And when they say, do you want fries with that? Can you imagine if for every no they got, if they were like, I just don't think I'm very good at this job, I think I'll quit. Like, no, they know that it's just neutral. Do you want fries with that? Yes or no? Do you want to coach with me? Yes or no? Right? And so your job is finding a need and filling it. That's what selling is. Finding someone's need, seeing if you have the solution to it, and filling it. If you look at the definition of selling in the Webster Dictionary, it's fascinating because only one of the definitions has anything to do with an exchange of money. The other definition of selling are things like to onboard you into my mission. It's to gain acceptance. It's to gain approval, to persuade, to convince, to adopt, to exchange, to trade, right? To transfer. It's just a transfer. I'm just looking for people who are looking for me. I've got something. Do you want the thing that I got? Like, it's really that simple. Okay. Here's what I want you to realize before you start selling is you are an expert in the thing that you're selling. You're an expert. And the definition of an expert is you understand the process to help people get from where they are with their struggle to where they want to be with their solution. That's what you're an expert in. So an expert can be claimed by lots and lots of years of education, degrees behind your name, titles, certifications. That's one kind of expert, and that's great. That helps. Another kind of expert, though, is I know how to get you from point A to B. So your credibility actually has a lot less to do with you and your past. So it has very little to do with I think this is such great news too. It has very little to do with, well, how many people have I helped this? Or say you're changing your career like I did 2 years ago into coaching. Well, I had never coached anyone. I had been in private practice. But the credibility issue, my credibility is about, am I able to transform someone's life in the way they're wanting? Yes, I was able to do that. So my credibility is, I have the process that you need, okay? I can instruct you, I can teach you how to get from point A to point B. So people are going to pay for two things. They pay for your perspective that you can give them, and they pay for speed. The faster you can get people to their results, the more you'll get paid, and the more perspective you can teach and instruct people, and the more perspective you can offer to change their lives and solve their problems, the more you're going to get paid. Okay? So here's the thing about selling. Selling is a matter of having influence. Influence is super, super important if you're going to be a high performer. And high performers have influence, and influential people are high performers. Okay? So influence helps you get to the next level. Now, you can't actually have influence unless you're connecting with people. Okay? So influence is the ability to shape other people's beliefs and behaviors as you desire. It means you can get people to believe in you or your ideas, buy from you, follow you, or take actions that you request of them. So influencers actually influence how you think about a problem. So you're going to see on your sales calls, your job is to help influence people's thoughts about the problem you solve, okay? So I want you to really just take a second and ask yourself, who's influencing you and who are you influencing? So if you don't like the answer to that question, like we've got to raise the game here, because who you surround yourself with is highly important, right? So one of the things I want you to realize in sales is you're going to need to get your ass in gear. And here's what we know. If you want to be an influencer and you want to connect with lots of people, you're going to need to partner with people. You're going to need to find lots of people that you champion and lots of people who champion you. So one of my ninja tips, tricks, secrets is very, very simple. I ask a lot. I ask for what I want. I ask to participate. I ask to collaborate. I ask to speak at events. I ask people out for coffee. I ask people to help at my events. And here's what research shows. We significantly underestimate people's willingness to help us. and we overestimate that they will say no. Okay? Here's what we know. When people help you, they like you more, they will continue to champion you. And if you want to be a high performer, like I said, you're going to need dozens and dozens of people that will champion you. So not only do I want you to really practice asking for what you want, I want you to practice receiving the goodness that is available to you and that you are worthy of when you ask. Okay? And that can be really hard. But I want you to get better at that. I want you to stretch yourself and receive goodness from people. Receive their help. Okay? Okay. Here's what my coffee dates looked like. I did very, very, very little talking and a lot of listening. And that's what I want you to think about when you're interacting with people. I want you to ask lots of great questions. John Maxwell, leadership coach, says leaders ask great questions. So there is an entrepreneur named Gary Vee, and he has this book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the idea here is that in sales and in business, the jabs are kind of like if you're in a boxing match and you're jab, jab, jab. Every so often the person comes with a hook, right? They don't hook all the time. The hook is the sale, okay? But the jab is that value add. So I want you to really think about in your relationships, in your life, in your business, I want you to add value. On social media, we talked about this. Add value, add value, add value, add value. And every so often you're going to ask for the sale, okay? So I want you to be a person that's just adding massive amounts of value everywhere you go. Who can I add value today to? How can I add value to this person? How can I be helpful, encouraging, inspiring? I also need you to think about if you're going to sell a lot and influence a lot of people, you're going to need to learn how to manage your energy. And so who would you want to go to a coffee date with here in this picture, right? We know the answer, right? So ask yourself and remind yourself, high performers activate their energy. They generate their own energy. So ask yourself, who do I want to show up to as in this meeting? When I went on 213 coffee dates, before I entered that coffee date, I would ask myself, who do I want to show up as? I want to bring my best self to this person. I want to add massive amounts of value. And here's the one thing I cannot give you. I cannot give you exuberant levels of energy. I cannot give you generous amounts of energy. You're going to need to tell yourself to bring that to the table. You're going to need to rally yourself to bring your energy to serve many, many people. Very briefly, I mentioned this, be interested, not interesting. What I mean by that is ask way more questions than you talk, okay? A great coffee date for you will be, you talked very little. A great speaking engagement for me is when I get up on stage and everyone in the crowd's like, I had no idea she was the speaker because I was taking interest in you before I got on that stage. And guess what? When I know exactly what you're all struggling with and what you need, not only am I going to give a much better talk, but now I can follow up and have sales conversations that are meaningful for people and that move my business forward. Okay? Here's 2 questions you can bring into every networking experience that you have that will really help you. Just imagine having these 2 questions in your back pocket, and they are, who do you serve and how can I help? What do you need? So when you're meeting someone, ask them, oh my gosh, tell me, like, who do you help and how can I help you? Like, what are you jazzed about in your life and how can I help you? What are you excited about in your life right now? Like, what makes you tick? What do you take a stand for? How can I help you? How can I serve you? And then last, I've said this a couple times, but are you championing other people? Are you encouraging, complimenting, in being, loving to other people on a regular basis? So, okay. This is my 4-step sales method, and it's called Mind the Gap. And that gap is metaphorically, the gap is where your client is and where they want to be. There's this gap in between. So maybe they are struggling to build a business that is making money and they want a business that makes $200,000 a year. So the gap is not making money to $200,000 a year. So your job as in this sales method is to figure out what the gap is and close the gap, okay? Before we have any sales conversations though, there's some things that you need to think about, and I call this pre-suasion. So this is what we need to do before we're in the persuasion part of the sale. Before you go into any sales conversation, I want you to have clear outcomes for when people will work with you, what will they receive? And that may seem so basic, but so many people miss this. And the people who sell the most have strategy, and they think about the answer to these 5 questions, these 5 things we're talking about here in persuasion. They know it, they know it, they know it before they ever go into talking with another human being about it. So what are the outcomes after working with you? Exactly what they are. You also need to know your offer. Again, that may seem so super basic, but an offer, knowing exactly what options you have, obviously is going to be super important at the end of your sales call, because you're going to say, awesome, let's talk about the ways you can work with me and which one is a great fit for you. Let me recommend this. It's this many weeks. It's this much money. Like, you have to know exactly what your offer is. People need an offer to step into. They need boundaries around it. That's very different than, well, let's work together and see how it goes, right? You also need to know the answer to why you. Why should someone go with you and not someone else? I know I'm going through this super fast, but you can watch the replay. You want to have in your back pocket some objection-killing metaphors. So the objections you're most likely going to hear are time, money, and they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe they have enough time to do this thing. They don't believe they have enough money, and they fear they don't have those things, or they don't believe it'll work for them. So one of the objection-killing metaphors that I have, I'll give you an example. And you want your metaphors to be really visual. And this is kind of your number one sales technique, actually. So I might say, imagine if you were going on safari for the first time in Africa, and you wanted to have a great experience and see all the animals and not get eaten alive by a lion or a tiger, right? What would you do? You would hire a tour guide. You probably would never go out into the African, on the safari by yourself. You would hire a tour guide. You would be much more likely to have an enjoyable experience. You would see the sights you wanted to see. You would hire someone that had been there and done that, right? Think of me as your business coach, like your tour guide for business. So I will help you quicken the way. I will help you have an enjoyable experience, and I will help you see all the sights, right? I will help you create a signature speech that sells from the stage and has you enrolling clients. So let me be your tour guide in your business. So see, that example is a objection-killing metaphor, okay? And then last, I want you to know the triggers of why humans say yes, and I'm going to go through those right now. So these are the 8 reasons why people buy stuff. This is from the psychology of sales research. We buy stuff because it's new. If you think about, why do you have the new iPhone? Is it because your other one was just so ineffective and just didn't function? No, we like new stuff as human beings. 2, utility. We need to know that this thing we're buying is actually going to be useful. Is this coaching program actually going to help me make money? We need to assuage, we need to kind of rub people's egos, and this is what I mean. People do not want to think of themselves as lazy or stupid. And if you come along and say, this program is going to solve all your problems, they're going to say, why haven't I heard of it before? Or I've tried so many things before, so I'm sure this doesn't work because I'm a pretty smart person. So you have to address that. You have to say, you know what? It's not your fault that you haven't figured it out yet because you didn't know this. Or my program, you got to let them off the hook. You got to let them off the hook and speak to their ego, because they do not want to think that they were stupid or that they've been lazy, okay? Popularity. People love to do what other people are doing. So you got to talk about all that, so many people are joining this program, the movers and shakers. If you know of people that are doing it and having success, you share that, right? People want to be in the know. They don't want to have FOMO, fear of missing out. Aspirational connections. So think about, who do your clients look up to? Who are they inspired by? And is this something that those people also have done? So I might say, if you were a financial consultant, you probably are going to talk about what Warren Buffett did, because someone in the financial arena wants to be like Warren Buffett. And so you're going to have stories about Warren Buffett and say, like, this is the same kind of system that he used, or this is along the same lines of the principles that he used to build his wealth. Benefit extension. This is a term coined by Brendan Burchard years and years ago. But you want to help your client understand that if they work with you, it's not only going to benefit them, but it's going to benefit the people they care about. So I might say, you know, what's this going to mean to your family if you grow a business? Oh, well, I'm going to bring them to Disneyland for the first time ever, and they're going to be so thankful. And that's what just happened to me in my life. So I'm very clear that if I'm making these sacrifices or spending money on my business, I'm doing it to also benefit my family and my loved ones. It's not just about what Aaron wants. Scarcity. Human beings do not like to be left out, and you need to figure out a way to talk about how there's only limited seats. If your event holds 300 people, that still is, there's limited seats. So that's the psychology of selling. You know, if this offer is going to go away by next Friday, that's scarcity. You have to create a sense of urgency. And then fulfillment. You have to show how if you do your program, your life is going to be better. You're going to be more fulfilled, more happy, more joyful, more there's going to be more quality to your life. So if you can understand this is why people buy stuff and weave this into your marketing copy, to your sales conversations, you are gold. So here's the 4 steps to the sales process. You've got your worksheet. Again, I know I'm flying through this, you guys, but I know you can handle it because there's just so much we need to talk about with sales, okay? So first is, I want you to think of it. Now we're in the sales conversation, okay? The first step you want to do is you want to help your client identify their gap. So you want to ask them things like, so what are you trying to accomplish this year? What do you think you would need to double your business? There's reasons why we're giving these time constraints and these quantifiable things for the brain to wrap around. It's much easier to have a person think about things within a boundary, like a year, or what would it take to double, versus, so what do you want to accomplish in your business? Okay. This gives them a framework to think about, something that's doable, something the brain is not going to shut down and be so overwhelmed by, but that can actually think of, you know, if I did this, I might be able to accomplish this by this date. So we always want goals to have a by when standard. So I want to make this much money in my business, but by when? Because that changes the whole strategy. If you want that amount of money in a month versus 5 years from now, that's a whole different strategy, whole different sales conversation, whole different sales call. But you want to help your client identify what their problem is. So tell me, like, what is your big dream? So that's like where they are to where they want to be. What's your big dream this year? What do you want to accomplish? Asking them that. Now you want to widen the gap. So remember, the gap is between where your client is to where they want to be. You're going to end up being the bridge to that gap. So you want to psychologically figure out how to widen the gap for them. So you're going to do this by asking them these questions. What strategies have you already tried to improve your business? What worked, what didn't? The answer to this, my friends, is marketing gold, by the way. So you're going to use this in your sales copy, your sales pages, your emails. When they say, I've tried all the strategies, or I've tried this, I've tried that. Okay, why didn't it work? The third step is you want to bridge the gap. Here's where you're going to start to have them think about, what if you had a bridge for that gap? What would that look like? What would that mean if you had the bridge? And here you're going to summon up kind of their motivations. What is reinforcing to them? What's exciting to them about bridging the gap? So first, before I do that, though, I love to summarize what they've already shared with me. So I might say, so if I were to summarize what you said, what I'm hearing you say is, You've wanted to grow a successful business. You've been at this for 5 years. Your marriage is crumbling because of it. Your husband wants you to get back to work, but you know you have this dream inside of you, and you know that if you just had the right mindset or the right skills or the right support, that you could really do this thing. And you know that if you did this thing, it would get your family some freedom. You'd be able to go on vacations, whatever it is they said. I'm just going to repeat that back to them. And then I'm going to validate. Wow, you've really been working hard at this. Or, wow, you've got some really scary but awesome dreams. I think that's really neat that you're a person that has so much vision. Or recognize their perseverance. So, what I've heard you say is you've been willing to do almost whatever it takes. And you've kind of, been burned. And you're still on this call with me. Like, that's amazing. So I'll say those kind of things. And then I bridge the gap and I ask, what would it mean to you to finally remove those obstacles and reach your goal? Here's where they're visualizing the aspirations that they have, the dreams that they have. Ultimately, they're kind of going to sell themselves into your program by doing just this step. They're going to say, oh my gosh, it would mean everything, Dr. Erin. It would mean my marriage would improve. It would mean, all the things that they wanted. After they say that, I want you to say, I can help with that. I want you to say those exact words. I have a suggestion and I can help you with that. And then I want you to ask permission. So before you start sharing your offer, I want you to ask permission, because psychologically what this does is when you say, would it be okay if I shared it with you? They're going to say, of course, yes, please. You've just eliminated any convincing that you ever would have to do. And you've moved into, you're just delivering what you said you would, and you're delivering what they just asked you for, even though you set them up to say, I want that, right? So you all of a sudden have put yourself in this glorious category of, now I'm just helping and I'm answering the question that you said you had, even though I asked you to ask it. And I'm just delivering this awesomeness of helpfulness, okay? And then you proceed to tell them all the ways that you help people solve those exact problems. And you say, and I want you to have some posture around this. I want you to really think about, again, like, do you believe in your product service that much that, oh my gosh, I can help you with that. I'm so excited. If this is true, if this is authentically true, I want you to have posture and say, I think it'd be great to work with you. You're the exact kind of client that I look to work with. You're coachable, resourceful, you're motivated, you're going to be a self-starter. Like, let's get going. This is the program I'd recommend for you. I have some others, I can tell you about it, but this is what I would recommend. And you start recommending. And when they say awesome, you say, great, let's get started. How do you want to pay for that today? I can take your money by this method. Okay. I want you to start practicing that stuff. Like, again, like it's just neutral. Like it's, do you want fries with that? Like it's that neutral. Last before I end, I want you to practice your pricing for things. I want you to practice saying it as if it's as neutral as you said, the sky is blue. If you cannot muster up how much your program is without clinching, and pausing, you've got work to do, my friend. So you need to be able to say, oh, it's $5,000. How do you want to get started? Like it is like, well, the sky is blue, it's $5,000. The sky is blue, it's $5,000. I just want you to practice whatever it costs so that you can say it in the most neutral way and then enroll them right in. So happy selling, happy serving everybody. And you're going to want to go back, I know, and listen to this. There was so much in here. Go check out your worksheets. It walks you through this whole system. Really, the person who serves the most will sell the most. And so go out, figure out what people want, figure out if you have the solution to that, and go and offer those solutions. All right, bye-bye, everybody.